Hello again, everyone. There, but by the grace of God, go I. Hurrying here and there along busy city sidewalks, one cannot help but notice the large number of homeless people that seem to have surfaced in recent years. When I was young, a homeless person was referred to as a tramp or a hobo or a vagrant. And these individuals didn't let any grass grow under their feet either. They moved around from town to town on the nation's rails, stowed away in the freight cars and trains. And they would find employment wherever they could, for a meal or a wage. And at the end of the day, their bed of choice was a park bench. When freight trains came through a town or city, they would reduce their speed as they went, across the traffic crossings and slow down just enough so that hobo was able to board unnoticed and into one of those open freight cars, and then they'd move on. Usually it was the town police or the city police who ran these roving rogues out of town on the rail. But times have changed. And today, homelessness comes in all sizes, shapes, ages, and colors. Homeless people are everywhere. But where do they all come from? I researched this phenomenon and I found that there are two significant reasons why we see so many homeless people today. They are, number one, a growing shortage of affordable rental housing, and number two, a simultaneous increase in poverty. The National Commission on Homelessness says that homelessness and poverty are inextricably linked. Low income people are often unable to pay for food, shelter, daycare, and health care. And when faced with making choices, many times the home is the first to go. The normal response of most people to this fact is that, oh, that's a shame, and it is. But what's worse, it can happen to anybody. If you or I lose our jobs today or tomorrow, or we come down with a serious illness or have a serious accident, we too may be one paycheck away from living on the streets. The lack of affordable housing and poverty are not the only factors that have contributed to the rise of homelessness. Consider the battered woman and the mentally ill patient no longer housed by state-supported mental health care facilities, and welfare reform, which has successfully reduced caseloads, but has left a host of people who are not receiving benefits and who are not gainfully employed or employable. Fewer to no job opportunities, falling incomes, and less secure jobs all contribute to the increasing poverty that we are witnessing today in the world's most powerful and richest nation. It takes more than minimum wage to pay the rent for a 1 or 2 bedroom house or an apartment in today's economy. Jesus Christ wants us to remember the poor. The Beatles did in their song entitled Eleanor Rigby. This song seems to be about a poor woman living in a church shelter. She gathers rice off the church floor after a wedding, maybe for food, like Ruth, who gleaned the fields of Boaz at the house of David. And perhaps she's a lonely bag lady, as this woman keeps all she has in a jar, and she lives and dies in the church, and no one remembers her, and no one is saved as a result of caring for her. Think about the words of this familiar Beatles tune and consider the plight of the homeless. Ah, look at all the lonely people, homeless people. Where do they all come from? The Lord makes the poor and the rich. He raises the poor out of the dust, and he lifts the beggar up in the dunghill to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he has set the world upon them. 1 Samuel 2, verses 7 through 8. Please remember the poor, for by the grace of God, there goes you or I. All the lonely, homeless people, where do they all belong? There was a pastor of the church who decided that he wanted to see just what the thinking of his parishioners was. One Sunday, there was a homeless guy sitting on the steps of the church. And as the folks came in, they were looking this guy up and down and trying to figure out why he was sitting on their church steps. And he had a little sign that says, "Could you give me something?" And they're like, "Oh, I can't believe this. Why aren't the trustees out here moving this guy off of our steps? He's in the way." And they all scurried by him and went into church and sat down in the pews. And of course, service started and the choir sang. And After the choir sang, lo and behold, here comes this homeless dude into the church, walked past all the pews and headed for the pulpit. Well, the trustees and officers, they really freaked out. They were like, oh no, sir, you can't do that. And the guy just kept on walking and walked up on the pulpit and walked right up into on the dais and took off his hat, pulled down his ski mask, took off his glasses, and lo and behold, it was their pastor. He didn't say anything except for this. If I can help somebody as I travel on, if I can help somebody with a word or song, if I can help somebody from doing wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. You probably sang it better than I did, but anyhow, by the way, the next time you see someone with a sign that reads, help me to get food, or I'm hungry, why don't you surprise them with a $20 bill instead of that same small change or nothing at all? Be blessed.